It is a calm summer morning somewhere in the eastern Hymus Mountains. Bulgarian Khan Tervel stands on a small hillock on the edge of the forest. From here, he is able to see the Eastern Roman fortress looming in the distance, and beneath its walls, a busy Roman camp, presumably with the emperor himself inside. "What a bold, ungrateful bastard," Tervel muttered under his breath, sighing to the wind. He jumped off the crooked tree stump and nodded to his closest retainer. The battle was about to begin.
This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. If you're looking for a gritty RPG game set in a dark fantasy world with strong tactical elements, then you should definitely check out Raid Shadow Legends. The game utilizes a shard system. As you acquire and open blue shards, you gain new champions. What we noticed is the sheer variety of champions you can get, ranging from demonic to angelic, monstrous to heroic. The selection is staggering. But unlike most games that if you get a champion that you don't want and are now stuck with, in Raid Shadow Legends you can recycle champs into your existing ones to build their strength, so it's win-win. Free-to-play Raid Shadow Legends is now available on mobile and desktop with cross-device support, so the game's popularity is just going to grow. Help support our channel. Click the link in the description below. Download the game for free and you'll receive 100,000 silver, 2 clan boss keys, 10 mystery shards and a free champion, the Executioner, to get you started. All these extras are waiting for you in your inbox upon sign up. This deal is available only for the next 30 days, so hurry.
It's summer of the year 694. The imperial throne in Constantinople is held by Justinian, the 6th consecutive emperor of the Heraclean dynasty. While still young, only being in his mid-20s, Justinian is about to pass the 10-year mark serving as Eastern Roman Emperor. During this time, he revealed himself as a proactive administrator and military commander. And while his campaigns against the neighboring Bulgars, Arabs and Slavs were quite successful, his domestic policies rarely followed suit. Though early in his reign, Justinian managed the internal affairs within the empire reasonably well. Gradually, his ineffective taxation methods, clumsy relations with the clergy, and general heavy-handedness towards the aristocracy and common people alike netted him many enemies among his subordinates. In 695, one of Justinian's outbursts sparked a popular uprising and subsequent deposition of the incumbent emperor. Justinian's life was spared, as killing a dethroned monarch in the Byzantine Empire would put those who seized power in unfavorable light. Instead, Justinian had his nose cut off to prevent him from seeking the throne again, and was exiled to the remote city of Chersonesus in the Crimean Peninsula. One might think that from that point, the figure of Justinian II would slowly fade into history. But our protagonist for today was of a tougher breed than those who had deposed him could have ever imagined. Over several years of his captivity, Justinian plotted to gather a solid following in Chersonesus, and, at the most opportune moment, he escaped his custody, soon receiving help from the Khagan of Khazars. For a year or so, Justinian settled in a residence in the city of Phanagoria, but his new home soon became unsafe. He discovered a conspiracy of the usurper emperor Tiberius, who bribed the Khazars to assassinate Justinian. The latter, however, was in no mood to die that day, and upon tricking the would-be killers into his residence, he strangled them to death. As living among the Khazars was no longer safe, Justinian departed Phanagoria and sailed back west to Chersonesus, where he enlisted some of his local supporters. From there, his journey led to the lands occupied by the Bulgars, and in late 704, Justinian turned up at the doorstep of their leader, Khan Tervel. The arrival of such a guest at the Bulgarian court was most likely unexpected, but Tervel swiftly realized that helping the exiled emperor would be a very good opportunity to strengthen the young Bulgarian state and also gain some lasting reputation. For a hefty amount of money and generous promises of lands and the prestigious title of Caesar, Justinian was gifted with a 15,000-strong army of Bulgarian and Slavic riders, which essentially put him back in the game for the throne in Constantinople. In spring of 705, Justinian's army reached the walls of the mighty city, but, unsurprisingly, was denied entrance. Yet, thanks to his extensive knowledge of Constantinople, Justinian was able to infiltrate the city through an unused aqueduct, rally his supporters, and open the gates. Acting nimbly and cleverly, both the previous and current usurper emperor were tracked down, imprisoned, and eventually killed. In this way, after 10 long years of humiliation and wandering, Justinian II reclaimed his imperial dignity. But for any of those who had hoped that Justinian had changed during his time in exile, his second spell as Byzantine emperor quickly sobered them up. Once again, Justinian exerted an authoritarian style of rule, pushing his boundaries of harshness and cruelty even further. Though of questionable morality, these methods, combined with widespread persecution of his political opponents, allowed Justinian to consolidate power reasonably fast. In 708, he already felt strong enough to challenge Bulgarian Khan Tovel, who helped him reclaim the throne 3 years earlier. Though the sources don't explicitly state the reason for this move, the most probable rationale behind Justinian's turn on his Bulgarian allies was his ambition to recover the area stretching from the city of Beroia up to the coast that he previously ceded to Tovel in exchange for military support. In the summer of the year 708, war preparations were completed, and the Byzantine host sailed north along the coast for a couple of uneventful weeks, while mounted units followed by land. As soon as they reached the height of the small fortress of Anchialus, lying close to the lands occupied by the Bulgarian Khanate, Justinian ordered his riders to comb the area to replenish provisions. The rest of the Eastern Roman force set a camp in front of the walls, where the emperor could plan his next steps. The camp was just barely defended, as Justinian likely felt confident thanks to the presence of the nearby fortress, enhancing his options. Moreover, despite nearly 30 years of mutual contact, battles, and alliances, Justinian still considered the Bulgarians to be of inferior quality regarding at least their military potential, which is quite odd, as largely thanks to the Bulgarian Khan, Justinian was able to reclaim the throne in Constantinople. Khan Tovel, however, had never overlooked the Eastern Romans, and thanks to his spies in Constantinople, he was able to prepare for Justinian's campaign. As soon as he received reports of the imperial army pitching tents near Anchialus, he moved his Bulgar and Slavic troops to the hilly, forested area to the northwest, making sure to keep the Byzantines oblivious of the incoming threat. Subsequently, once all of his men took suitable positions, Khan Tovel waited for the right moment to strike. Eventually, when scattered Byzantine cavalry foraged too close to the concealed Bulgarian units, Tovel gave the order to attack. Numerous Bulgar riders rushed out of their positions, charging at the disorientated Eastern Romans. The surprise was overwhelming. Many of Justinian's men fell within the first minutes of the attack. As it was impossible to defend, with the complete lack of any battle plan nor cohesion, the Byzantines turned tail and fled back to the camp. But the situation in the camp was equally disastrous. The rest of the Bulgarian riders, followed by Slavic infantry, struck the unprepared main body of the Eastern Roman army, shocking Emperor Justinian. The battle was wholly unbalanced, with only some of the defenders being able to grab their weapons and stand against the enemy. Yet their resistance was futile, and it was only a matter of time till they were overwhelmed. Emperor Justinian, unable to turn the odds, managed to gather a token force and retreated into the safety of the Anchialus fortress, from where he could see the agonizing view of his disintegrating army. It was a resounding victory for Khan Tovel, who then proceeded to besiege the fortress, hoping to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and take the emperor captive. But just a few days later, Justinian escaped the fortress with his retinue, sailing back to Constantinople. Following this, the defenders' morale plummeted, and Anchialus surrendered to the Bulgarians. Although the humiliating defeat against Khan Tovel took a toll on Justinian's authority and already meager popularity, The latter was able to hold onto his imperial throne for another 3 years. He even managed to reconcile with Khan Tervel and received additional military support in 711, when Justinian's harsh policies once again caused turmoil within the empire. Yet this time, luck was not on his side, and in December of 711, Justinian was arrested and decapitated outside the city of Constantinople.